right. All right, I think we are ready to go now. So first of all, welcome everyone to yet another PTC Nordic Talks webinar. And today we are happy to have Wes Tomer from Atlas Copco as our next guest speaker, talking about designing augmented reality trainings for service technicians. But since actually Wes is based in Pittsburgh in the US and on a totally different time zone, we actually decided to let him record his session a little bit earlier this week for us to watch today. But for the Q&A session at the end, we have our technical expert Per Lönnehed, live and kicking, who will answer all of our questions during the call here. My name is Torbjörn Petersson, for those who don't know me, and I'm the Partner Ecosystem Manager for the PTC in the Nordics. And we are running those Nordic Talks webinars every week, same time, where we invite customers and partners for some inspiration on hot topics in digital transformation to see what is possible and how to make things happen. And all the webinars, they have been recorded and are actually also available at our registration site. So the agenda today is a quick introduction of PTC. And I call Paul Johnson on the PTC IoT team. And Wes will introduce himself and touch base on a few challenges and how to address these, and then talk a little bit about the business outcome at the end. And we have a Q&A session, as I said before, at the end, so please keep your questions until then. And over to you, Carl.
Great, thank you, Torbjörn. So a very quick introduction about PTC. PTC is a 30 years old international software company whose headquarters is based in Boston. We provide software for mainly manufacturing enterprises with a focus on the digital transformation. We started with CAD and PLM, and now since a few years we introduce SaaS, IoT, and augmented reality. And here we launched the presentation from Wes Tomer.
Hi, my name is Wes Tomer, and I'm the Augmented Reality Training Specialist for Vacuum Techniques Service. I'll be discussing designing augmented reality training for service technicians with Atlas Copco. So Atlas Copco is an industrial group of companies with 4 different divisions and over 100 billion in annual revenue. I'm a part of the Vacuum Techniques Service division, and you can see the 8 different brands within that division. There are field service teams supporting each of these brands, and there's a ongoing need for training, not only because we're producing new products, but we're also doing cross-training and continually hiring new technicians. Classroom training can't support this demand, so we've looked to augmented reality as a solution. Initially, I mapped out all of the different options here to help decide which path to take. It's really important to know your stakeholder priorities and also know the strengths of the hardware that's out there and the software that's out there, and how you can measure the return on investment. So we narrowed down our selection to PTC as the best strategic partner. There are a lot of different options out there. It's important to research and know what you're getting into, and also narrow down your use case to 1 or 2 specific things. So we focused on training and reduction in travel costs, because that's one of the big expenses that we have. When we were narrowing down the selection of hardware, we decided on the Microsoft HoloLens because you can see what you're doing, and our technicians need to be able to work with their hands while they're training. It's best to have that hands-on experience if possible. Now, there's some situations where it's useful to have virtual reality, such as in a very large assembly in some use cases, or assisted reality for on-the-job training or remote assistance. And it's important to investigate all those options. I really like the quote from Marshall McLuhan that the medium is the message. And this really sums up the advantage of augmented reality, because if you display the same material in a 2-dimensional PDF, and then you also show that in 3D in augmented reality, you're going to be conveying so much just through the medium, through the augmented reality and through the holograms, because a lot is absorbed visually through looking at it with different angles and being able to walk around it and interact with it in a way that's unique. PowerPoint and PDF has its place, but it's not as instructive. Even video, sometimes you can lose perspective and not understand which angle you're viewing the technology, the machine at, and CAD software is the same. And even real world demonstrations, though they are great, they're not as repeatable digitally as augmented reality, because you can make sure that the same information is shown to everyone who views it all across the globe, to all of your teams. And it's more flexible in terms of interactive, looking at parts and exploded views and such. So most training engages that orange part of the brain, the cognitive system that's shown here in the frontal lobe. This is memorization, reasoning, logic. So it's a lot of just fact-based. But what technicians prefer often is doing. They want the hands-on. So they like to have the experiential system, the behavioral system engaged. And augmented reality gives you a unique opportunity to engage these other systems. They can hold the tools they'll be working on while they're viewing the holograms and the animations. And you can add the auditory side of things with voice commands and voice instructions. And they can get real-time feedback, which really helps them to remember, if they're looking at the right part, or if they're going the right way with the training, which is a lot more engaging than some of the traditional methods that involve two-dimensional displays or videos. So it's important when you're selecting the software to make your columns of what you need to have. So if you need smart glasses, HoloLens, remote support, if you're looking to have animations, IoT, PTC checked all the boxes for us. But you need to look and see what is important to you and research the different vendors out of there that are out there. Now this is probably outdated. I made this a while ago, but it really helped assure me that I was going the right path in selecting PTC as an ongoing partner and getting their whole ecosystem of solutions. And you also need to consider the workflow of your data. You obviously are going to have a source of that data, whether it's files that you have saved, or you need to create some documentation and do 3D scans, or get some CAD software. And then that needs to be edited and authored in a CAD program, in an animation program, and stored on a cloud somewhere, and then viewed on a different device or in a different server. So all of these steps need to be considered when you're selecting a partner. And PTC offers solutions all the way across the board through the whole process here. This is a video which I created for internally marketing what I was doing so that people could understand augmented reality training. Now, some of it will be grayed out because this was not officially approved by marketing. So the guys were wearing t-shirts when they were working. They didn't have their nice logos on them, but I grayed it out so I could share this with you. My name is Wes Tomer. I'm the Augmented Reality Training Specialist for Vacuum Technique Service, and we're using this exciting technology to train field service technicians on our products. Augmented reality allows us to augment the real world with 3D digital holograms that are viewed through this headset. This is similar to virtual reality. However, virtual reality totally obscures the user's view of the real world and puts them in a purely digital environment. It's best to learn by doing, so we want our technicians to use the same tools and wrenches while training that they will at the customer site. This is why we chose augmented reality. While wearing the headset, they can see their physical surroundings as well as the holographic training. Holograms are placed within the context of the real world and viewed as if they're actually there on the table. A technician can watch some holographic training and then go ahead and work on a physical pump while wearing the HoloLens. We've been able to train a technician using the HoloLens already to learn a Sojavac 300B. We wanted to be sure that augmented reality training produces the same quality of results as instructor-led training. So we had 2 technicians trained on the same pump using different methods. After 2 days of training, they were evaluated with a 91-step evaluation. They totally disassembled and then reassembled the pump with only a printed ISA. This is a really complex pump, but both technicians did exceptionally well.
We seen kind of the same type of mistake from both the augmented training and the hands-on one-on-one training.
Perform this step for muscle memory. Then once you're done, we can attempt one without the augmented reality. The way the program is designed and set up is that the steps are highlighted so that you're following in sync and you know what's coming next. If you have parts coming off the augmented, off the visual, then you know, okay, on this same exact pump, those are the same things that I'm taking off. The details are going to engrave themselves when you're actually doing the motions.
When you see the pump, you say it comes apart like that. All right, now I see it. The little items that they click into your head that give you the confidence when you go in, and to me, the confidence is a huge part of it. You could have the pump augmented, assembled, and that's enough to let you go to sleep at night feeling really good. We've got a lot of NPI coming, new product.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're going to need all the help we can get. This is going to really fill that void. Until then, I see this as becoming a very nice piece of the puzzle. Plus, that it's kind of neat. We can say we're using HoloLens, and we're doing this AR. And I don't know of any company doing this. So we're ahead of the game.
So you can see some of the advantages of augmented reality training there over instructor-led training already. We don't have to overseas for training. They can come to the facility that's closest to them, put on the HoloLens, and get hands-on training on our products. They can also review a step multiple times without needing to ask an instructor for them to do it. They can interact with the content more. They can get the same exact training as other technicians around the globe without relying on an instructor to make sure they can get all of the details. But yeah, the biggest advantage for us was not sending people overseas. They can get the training where they are. And when you're creating this augmented reality training, it's important for it to be engaging enough, but not too complex. So each step consists of one animation, some text and images, and it's bite-sized. It's enough for them to remember it and then immediately do it to a physical pump and put it into their muscle and visual memory. And then you repeat that process and they watch another step. So we did this for disassembling and reassembling multiple pumps now. And the color codes are also important to use. to direct the attention of the technician so they know where to look. They might be looking in the wrong place when they press play if they're not careful. And you can show them what needs to be replaced as well. We wanted to combine 3D animations with images and text because some things can't be shown in an animation, such as how to put grease into a bearing. And you can put image widgets into the augmented reality experience you create in Studio and then update that with some JavaScript so that it's synced with the animation. When you create the user interface, you can position the buttons anywhere you want, put some JavaScript in there, and this will control how the animations move. You also need to think about where you're placing the augmented reality. Is it directly overlaid on top of the physical pump, or are you going to position it to the side of the product? And there's a lot of different ideas and creative solutions out there. You can check this out on the community that PTC has. This is a high-level view. I can't go into all the details, but sometimes people want to see something like this. So in the top left, you can see the animations are developed in Creo Illustrate. They're exported to Vuforia Studio. And then also going into Vuforia Studio, the other orange arrow is the JavaScript, the images. And this is the metadata for the training that I've created. And then on the far right, you can see there's a nice result of images and text and a user interface, which is what the technician sees. And they have control over what chapter they're in and when the animation plays. And if you're curious about this code, please contact me. I'll share my contact information at the end of this. When you're creating the user interface, it needs to be as simple as possible for the technician. So some things, even just with interacting with the HoloLens, need to be explained. Where the volume buttons are, where the brightness is, how to use voice commands. Some of this might be familiar to you, but not to the person who's using it. So it's important also to create a separate training to help with the learning curve of using a new device. And we don't want to just hand it to them and say, here, this is your new way of doing things. But once they get used to it, there's huge advantages. And it's also very important to showcase your vision with your specific product to your stakeholders. So with Vuforia Studio, you can create training and take the files in the project folder, and there's the path there in purple. Save that into a new project that's for the HoloLens, or I mean for the iPhone or mobile device, and then you can get a nice video and show your stakeholders augmented reality overlaid on top of the real world. And this is really important so that people can see what you're actually doing and start to believe in its effectiveness. Of course, it's important to show the return on investment that you're going to have. I just spoke with a field service manager in Brazil who needs to train his technicians on a product that they don't know how to service yet, but their customers are asking for this. And so we're shipping them a HoloLens right now. And that's extremely valuable to them because they can't send someone for training to Cologne, Germany, where they normally would. And even if they could send someone, they'd have to pay for the cost of hotel and travel and food and such. So that is the return on investment that we have. But on top of that, those numbers, you've got to have the aesthetic side, the visual side of what you're going to be able to accomplish. And that can be done best with your own people and your own product. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions about any of this, or you want to see how I've made the user interface and such, please send me an email. I'd be more than happy to talk with you. Thank you.
Right. So now let's open up for any questions that you might have. And we have our technical expert, Per Lönehed here on the call. So just shoot. Or anyone who would like to share any kind of, experiences and by using
This is Pontus Blomberg from PDS Vision. Can you hear me?
Ciao, Pontus, we can hear you.
Good. So thanks, great presentation. Have you been working on all of this alone, or do you have a development team that you're using?
It's well, I will answering for Wes. They have been doing this by themselves with support from PTC, but the most of the work they've been doing by themselves. And I think if you look at what they've done is not really, let's say, not really technical. If you go, it's not that they have program, yeah, they have code in their experience, but I think the key thing how they did this was that they spend a lot of time on what they want to do and how they want to do it, and make sure that you do good scripts or scenarios before you even start doing this. So even if there are some deep technical stuff in this, I think the most time they spent on really making sure that they are doing the right thing, and also using the data that they have, creating the animations using Creo Illustrate instead of doing a lot of programming. And the same thing with the other stuff that's part of the Vuforia Studio suite. So I think that's that would be my answer, is that it's not that technical. It's more do the right thing and do it very structured before you start.
Yeah, I understand. But approximately how many people are working on this day to day, or is it a day to day work?
I will need to go back to Wes about that. So okay. Because he's I know the technical background, not really 100% sure about how his department or unit is, how big it is, and how many people they are.
Yep.
Sorry.
That would be helpful. Thanks.
I have a question. It's Steve from Rockwell. Hey.
Hi.
It looks like they were using the holograms sort of separate from the real piece of equipment. I was sort of expecting to co-locate on top of the pump or whatever it was, but was that what they were doing, or did I just
no, you're right. You always have to think about the use case you have, and most of the use cases they have been working with has been getting the technician trained on the equipment even before the equipment reach the site.
Okay.
But then there is also, let's call it two different approaches when you do training. One is doing what you said, having the augmentation overlaid over the physical product or asset or whatever we call it, or putting it on the side. So you look at the augmentation and look at the animation, and then you go to the physical one. So you have them separate. I think that's I don't believe that one is better than the other. In some cases, one is better than the other, and in some other cases, it's not. So if it's a small thing, sometimes it's easier to just see it be like aside on the side of the physical thing. If you're interested in see how this would work in a bigger context, then you probably need to align it with the physical world as well.
Okay. I guess the same model could be used in either context. You just have to, yeah.
It's you decide which tracking you are going to use. So either you track against a physical object or the physical product, or you track it against the flat surface somewhere where you just put it close to the product. Yes.
Thank you. That's great.
We have two people.
I want to say again, I would say the positive thing here is that you can use both whenever needed.
Yeah. We have two people raising hands. So first, Christina.
Yeah, I was just curious. From they decided to go with this solution, how much time did they spend until they had the actual training product? Do you know?
Sorry, but no. But we can ask Wes, and then we can come back and see how much. If how much time they spent on this project, because it's probably until they get the first training.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking for something like that. And then also, is there any lessons on longevity of a product like this? For how long a period will a training kit like this be still useful or still valid? And can you amend it?
Yeah. So I think most of the most time you spend on a training like this is not maybe on the details of the technical solution, which when I'm talking about the product now, you more look at how to communicate, what kind of information you need to communicate with the user. That it's probably the bulk work you need to work on. And then if there comes updates, or if you have a similar product, you will reuse a lot of them. But it's really important that you spend a lot of time on this to make sure that you show the right things and so on. And then what you really show in the end, that's a small part, to be honest.
Good question.
But we can ask how long time. But I also, all these AR projects are, I think, also in like an exploring state.
Yeah.
So there is not many people that you can ask how to do this in the best thing. So they probably tested a lot and failed a lot until they ended up with this.
So thank you. We have two more questions. Time is short. Quickly, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. Good presentation. Thank you very much for that. We saw a good comparison between having a hands-on training, a personal training, face-to-face, and AR. Have we also some comparison between having a video and AR? Because for me, that what I saw so far, it's not so much different to a video. And with a video, I can use every laptop, every screen. Don't need to send any HoloLenses around the world.
Mm. I know that I don't think they've tested it, but I'm working at another Stena Industry Innovation Lab in Gothenburg, which is a university there, are doing a lot of work on this, how to train users using textual or just paper-based or PDF-based video, AR, VR training, and they do a lot of work on that. And maybe we could. I will share a link to the work they've done, so you can have a look at that. But Atlas Copco, they didn't try out the video option here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think we have one last question from Herman.
Yes. Hi, Per.
Hi.
This is Herman Smits, former colleague, as you may remember.
Ah, hi.
I now work for GPO Solutions in the Netherlands.
Okay. Hi.
We are also working on AR projects, and I really liked your presentation as well. Does Atlas Copco have plans to work on additional use cases, and maybe with different technology?
This is this unit was the starting point or the pilot project for doing this, and I know I've been talking to the Swedish business units as well, and they are looking into this as well. But this was just the starting. This was where they started, but they are looking into moving this or using this technique at other places as well. There is a lot of their machines are sent out to places in the middle of nowhere with also language problems. So it's very it's problematic to have like printed information. You need to have information in animations or in pictures, basically.
Thanks a lot.
All right. I think, time is actually unfortunately running out. So thanks everyone for joining, and thanks Per for answering all the good questions here in the call. And stay tuned for the next Nordic Talks webinar next week already. And have a nice weekend, everyone.
Yeah, but we will add. I will add information about the Stena Industry Lab, and then we will also add answers to the questions in the chat on this meeting. So go back to Teams and you will see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.